Hi, I'm Charlie, and this is Stereo Hysteria. Our July Artist of the Month, Chris Stamey, is a musician, songwriter, and producer based in North Carolina, who began playing and recording music in Winston-Salem as a teenager with local friends such as Mitch Easter, Don Dixon, and Peter Holsapple. Stamey and Easter formed a DIY pop combo called Sneakers in the mid-'70s, before Chris relocated to New York City and quickly became Alex Chilton's bass player. He then invited Holsapple, Will Rigby, and Gene Holder to move from Winston-Salem to New York City, where they formed the seminal college rock band, the DBs. Stamey contributed to the DBs' enormously influential first two albums before leaving the group. He has since released a series of diverse and ambitious solo albums, recorded acclaimed LPs as a duo with Holsapple, produced artists as diverse as Alejandro Escovedo, La Tigra, and the Flat Duo Jets, and written a delightfully detailed memoir called A Spy in the House of Loud, New York Songs and Stories. Recently, he's toured with the Big Star Quintet and participated in reunions with the DBs and Sneakers. His most recent release, last month's Modernism, contains new covers of songs by influential artists and alternate arrangements of songs from throughout Chris's career. Right now, we're hearing an instrumental version of a song called Insomnia from a 2004 album called Speed of Sound. Stereo Hysteria spoke with Chris over Zoom about his many musical endeavors and connections. So without further ado, here's our discussion with Chris Stamey. Thanks so much for agreeing to do this. I've been a fan of your music for a very long time, and I'm very chuffed to be able to speak with you.
Chuffed is a good word, and I'm glad to hear it.
The way I usually like to start off these conversations is by taking you right to the beginning of your sort of musical development and just asking, how did music first hit your ears? Like, did you have particularly musical parents or anything?
I did. My father played the classical repertoire on piano, and we had a good piano in the house. And so Chopin, Schumann, Tchaikovsky were very much in my ears when I was growing up. But honestly, songs like Hernando's Hideaway, which I covered on this record, was part of my earliest childhood. I mean, it's just like, what planet does this come from? You know, it was castanets and a mostly almost solo vocal. And so, yeah, radio, but I think it was the crazy songs on the radio, Iko Iko, or I don't know, that would catch my ear.
Yeah, like the novelty records or...
Yeah.
Very cool. You write in your memoir about getting a reel-to-reel recorder at the age of 9. I just want to read the sentence because I think it's really lovely. I thought I had found a way to stop and rewind time itself, the distinction between memory and the now blurring away into dreams. I wanted to ask, how did having the ability to record yourself and play it back and listen kind of shape your musical development?
Well, there's something very visceral about analog recording. I mean, it smells cool as it winds around the heads, and you can take out scissors and cut it and reconnect it.
You can cut your fingertips really easily with a razor blade, too.
Yeah, it didn't happen a lot with me, but I saw some blood on others, I guess. It was kind of like being a hobbyist. I liked electronics. I got a tape recorder first, or a cassette recorder, to record The Man from U.N.C.L.E. because I really liked that. So I associated it with, Great Adventure and spies and things that were not really part of my day-to-day life as a kid in North Carolina. So it was already kind of magic. But yeah, recording music and being able to shape it like you would when you're filming a movie, it's awesome power.
Were you mostly just playing on the family piano at this point, or when did you get a guitar or a bass?
Well, I was friends with Mitch Easter, and we do a lot of stuff together, including, like model rockets and things you do as a kid. But his dad did a trade with a guy at his work for a guitar. So Mitch was playing about a year or two before I was. I was playing in the string orchestra at school, but not in bands. And then I got on electric bass, and I basically played electric bass through my childhood.
Okay.
And upright bass and cello. The piano was not practical at that time. A Fender Rhodes was this very expensive, incredibly heavy beast. And the Honor Pianette, which we had, just sounded really weird. So it was nothing like the experience of playing the piano at home. And I didn't really try to play in bands on piano. Also, Peter Holsapple was around, and he was so much better.
Yeah, piano's never been the most portable instrument.
Yeah. Nowadays, venues have them in-house, but you still have to get them tuned before every show, so it's still a little problematic.
Yeah. One sort of fascinating bit of your musical development that you recount with a little bit of chagrin in the memoir is the Rittenhouse Square album, which is now just like a click away on YouTube. And I listened to it kind of expecting to cringe a little bit, but I think it was really good. Like, it's really clear that Peter and Mitch are great guitarists, even at that early age. And I think the songs are really knowingly funny. Like, it seems like you're in on the joke.
Funny? What do you mean funny? I was the bass player. All I did was try to hit my marks, and you should be telling Peter and Mitch this. We never expected that to be a release. It was only like, let's go on the overnight cheap rates at the studio and record. But the drummer from the band pressed it up and sold it at high school. So I think that's some of the hesitation about it. We never would have actually released it. It was only an experiment, as I recall. But I'm glad if people can laugh a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a period piece, but it's definitely like a progress report, and it shows that you were proficient at your instruments and creative about making your own music. Like, you're not just doing covers. Right.
I mean, right after that, the year or two after that, both Peter and Mitch really developed as songwriters, and I was starting to have my own contributions that were not just imitation Chopin, but they were actual songs. But those two ramped up really quickly.
And it seems like you also stepped up when the first Sneakers EP came out, because that's mostly your songs, right?
It's all mine. I don't remember any co-writes on that. Yeah, I like that record. I don't necessarily think, we started to make it in this club and cut a couple of songs on a 4-track tape recorder, and then they had to wash the floor, so we moved to a girlfriend's tiny bedroom. I mean, it wasn't a scientifically designed recording, but I find it charming now.
Yeah.
And I play those songs still.
Considering the technology that you had at your disposal, it sounds really clear and not hissy in the way a lot of DIY stuff at the time was.
Well, we were masters of the 4-track TAC, but I have to say that we had Don Dixon on board, and Don was like the wise guy in town. He knew a lot of things about recording because he'd been in actual studios as a session guy, even at maybe age 15. So he was about a year older than we were, maybe 2 years older than we were, but he was quite far along in what the pros actually did, whereas we were just, there was no internet. We were just trying to hook up the wires and see what sounded workable. So if that record sounds clear at all, it's all down to Don Dixon.
From Sneakers' self-titled debut EP, self-released on a label called Carnivorous Records, here's a bit of a song called Ruby. And from a 2018 concert, released by Omnivore Recordings as Yesterday's Tomorrow, celebrating the Winston-Salem sound, here's a bit of the reunited Sneakers doing Ruby.
Talking
did see that you and Sneakers and also Rittenhouse Square reunited a couple years ago for a show.
Some of that up on YouTube. I think it's called Yesterday's Tomorrow, but it had to do with my book. We were playing mostly songs referenced or bands referenced in my book. It was totally a fun night, and then I did take the multi-tracks and mix it. It came out on Omnivore. And yeah, I think that's something I'd be glad to point your listeners to in order to distract them from YouTube and the Rittenhouse Square record.
I appreciated the note perfect Bubble Puppy cover.
Yeah, that worked out pretty well. Yeah, I mean, Peter and Mitch are amazing.
Could we talk a little bit about your association with Alex Chilton? I'm a really big fan of Big Star and of Alex, and particularly the Summer Sun. That recording is just one of my favorite records, like, holistically. Like, it's not just I like the words and music, but I wouldn't change a reverb setting or the way the glockenspiel fits in the mix or that super reverb on the tambourine. Like, everything is in the right place.
Well, I mean, that was all due to Alex. I mean, we had started playing together in New York in '77, playing the CBGB circuit, what was later to be called New Wave or punk clubs. And but we also had a way to go up and record pretty cheaply up in Connecticut. And I played him that song and he wanted to produce it. And it was great for me just to watch him, you know. I put down the acoustic guitar part. I don't think he was even to a metronome. And then he overdubbed drums and bass and all these things that he'd learned or had absorbed from hanging out with the Beach Boys. The Box Tops opened for the Beach Boys hundreds of shows, and he was good friends with Dennis particularly, but I think Carl showed him a lot of... In the Box Tops, Alex was just the lead singer, but I think Carl Wilson showed him a lot of stuff on guitar that he later used with Big Star. So their Beach Boys influences I hear on The Summer Sun, which, you know, came from the horse's mouth, really, through Alex. But the flip side, which I actually have covered on this record, it was a song called Where the Fun Is. And in a way, that was a more innovative production for him, and the way that feedback was used and the synthesizer. And I mean, I don't know, at the time, I think we were the most proud of the flip of that, of The Summer Sun.
And it definitely sounds like he's in sort of the same third headspace as like Kangaroo or Holocaust, where it's like taking what might be a conventional song and throwing a lot of left turns at it.
I think you're right. I think that Alex had done an acoustic guitar on what I've read. I don't think we ever talked about it, but he'd done an acoustic guitar of Kangaroo, like acoustic and vocal, and it was just all on one mic. And he gave that over to Dickinson, and Dickinson put the cowbell and the feedback and the mellotron on it. And I think that was very educational. That opened Alex's eyes to a different kind of sonic landscape. And I think he was maybe channeling Kangaroo a little bit on Where the Fun Is, yeah.
Released as the B-side of a 1977 single on Orc Records, here's some of the original version of Where the Fun Is.
She's such a lonely girl, she sits at home, she cries a lot. Cries a lot 'cause she's got everything. Such a lonely girl, a self-addressed forget-me-not. Cries a lot 'cause she's done everything. Somewhere there's laughter, there's dancing on air. Somewhere the fun is, somewhere there's champagne. She's such a lonely girl, she walks downtown with mittens on. Buys a postcard picture of Colette. Lying awake at night, she reads the side she's written on. I am yours sincerely, I regret. Once in a
And from Modernism, here's the 2026 version of Where the Fun Is. The arrangement on the new album kind of closer to what you had originally in mind?
It's just different. I mean, it's in a more sensible key. It's down a fourth. And I thought that song from way back had similarities to what I'm writing currently in the last 5 or 10 years. And it would be kind of cool to do a little more current version, although it's still not, I wouldn't say it's cutting edge techno. It's still pretty soft focus.
Did the version of Ruby Tuesday with Alex Chilton come from the same sort of sessions, the same time period?
Yeah. It did. There was a record company called Orc Records involved, and they were doing a Rolling Stones covers record. Richard Lloyd did Get Off My Cloud, I think, and Alex he actually did a Bob Dylan song for the Rolling Stones record. He did Please Crawl Out My Window. The Feelies did a song, and I did Ruby Tuesday, and Mitch and Peter actually did Dandelion for it. None of that record ever came out. I mean, a few tracks did. I think Richard Lloyd's song did come out.
Yeah, I've got the Numero. I think there's like a couple of songs on there.
Oh, yeah. The Erasers, yeah, they did something, yeah.
Here's a bit of a recording, started in the 1970s with Alex Chilton on drums, and finished up by Chris and Pat Sansone from Modernism, of the Rolling Stones' Ruby Tuesday.
She would never say where she came from. Yesterday don't matter if it's gone. While the sun is bright or in the darkest night, no one knows. She comes and goes.
It's interesting to hear you talk about the Beach Boys influence, because it seems like at this time period, they were maybe at kind of a low critical ebb. But like on the first DB's album, there's that song She's Not Worried, which sounds like such a pastiche of that mid-60s Beach Boys sound. Was that something that you were consciously trying to go for?
I'm trying to remember what that specific moment in that specific bedroom when I wrote that song, but I hear what you're saying and I agree with it. I just can't really remember. I mean, a year before, the record I was really taken with was Beach Boys' Love You, which is pretty crazy and not the kind of sound you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. But still some of the same like arrangement ideas, even though he's doing it like with the synth bass, and that album's sort of more home recorded, but the straight quarter notes on an organ. Mm-hmm. There seems to be a little bit of the same mojo going on between like Pet Sounds and Smile and Love You. Yeah.
I mean, it's still Brian doing that kind of vocal arranging and everything. I agree with you, and I just can't recall exactly if I was really thinking about the Beach Boys, because I was very enamored with the Colin Blunstone records and the Zombies records, and also the Left Bank.
Yeah.
And there were some similar chord movements in that stuff as well. But you might, I mean, yeah, I'm not arguing. I guess I am arguing with you, but I don't mean to be. I'll take it. I'll take it. I love the Beach Boys, you know.
And I think it might be more the arrangement than the chords, which do have some of that extended harmonic palette. But I think it might be more the arrangement that's giving me that. Will Rigby and Gene Holder are kind of emulating the Hal Blaine, Carol Kay Wrecking Crew.
Yeah. I mean, there's a ba-ba-ba-ba that Peter sings that's clearly from that world.
From the DB's 1981 debut record, stands for decibels. Here's a bit of She's Not Worried.
She's not bothered by the foolish way I lead my life, 'cause she knows it'll be over soon, and it will so. She won't worry. Sometimes I don't say the silly words she wants to hear, but you know they're always on my mind, and it's so fun. She won't outside, walking cold in the rain, pours as when I collapse right in her face.
And from Our Back Pages, a 2021 collection of stripped-down re-recordings of DB songs, here's some of an acoustic rendition of She's Not Worried.
Was it the second time I thought I'd turn this thing around? But you know, it's not what I wanna do. Maybe she knew I won't worry now. Outside, walking in cold, and the rain falls down. As when I collapse right in her face. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Ba-ba-ba-ba. She's not bothered by the foolish way I lead my life, 'cause she knows it'll be over soon, and it will, so she won't worry now.
You've always struck me as an artist who's just as much of a fan of other artists. There are a lot of songs that you've written that are sort of directed to someone, like the one and only Van Dyke Parks, or You and Me and XTC. There's a lot of like songs that are in conversation with other musicians. I think that's kind of interesting and unique.
Yeah, I guess from painters, you know, painters would reference other painters and works. I think maybe the percentages are not as high as it seems from what you're saying. If you look at the 250 songs I've written, there aren't that many like that. I mean, but I love that Van Dyke Park song I wrote. I mean, because I was able to actually put in parts that were kind of like Van Dyke in the bridge. And also, you know, I would play it for him and say, okay, I like that, but you got to change this line. So, that was very cool for me personally, because he's the greatest.
From Chris's 2023 solo album, The Great Escape, here's a song called The One and Only Van Dyke Parks.
Van Dyke Parks is on the phone. I try to be cool, but my thoughts won't leave me alone. I think that what kind of world is this we're in, when you can pick up the phone and start to grin, because it's Van Dyke Parks, the man himself. His witty remarks are always top shelf. He says he likes my work, and I'm surprised. I never thought I'd be recognized by Van Dyke Parks. I don't even know now what we talked about. The red clay ramblers, Phil Oaks, or the LA droughts. Any one of these are possibilities. I heard his voice for the very first time. I was at Sid Straw's place near Hollywood and Vine. But it's not what you think, she was out of town. I was crashing there, unprepared for the sound of Van Dyke Parks, the one and only. I was half asleep, the other half was lonely, and we talked like old friends across the wire. It was 8 a.m., I was still in my sleep attire, talking to Van Dyke Parks. Van Dyke Parks. Ask him about chords and the all golden, the bare necessities, and then emboldened. He told me things that I can't repeat, but if I did, you'd fall right out of your seat in front of Van Dyke Parks. At the age of 10, he sang for Einstein, who pulled out his violin and kept time as if he knew it well, but wouldn't tell. So if you think the world's a bore, you've seen it all and there ain't no more, well, just wait for the day when you pick up the phone and you think it's a guy trying to make you alone, but it's really Van Dyke Parks.
I would probably be similarly taken aback if Van Dyke Parks was on the other end of my telephone.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't? Is it a humble brag? Is it flawed in many ways? I don't know, but it's really just a song, and you can worry about this stuff too much.
In addition to like being a fan of music, you seem like you're a really good curator of talent. Like on a lot of your records, like the record last year, Anything Is Possible, you've got a lot of really cool guest musicians giving their all to your songs, like Marshall Crenshaw and Lemon Twigs. And is that just sort of inviting folks who you respect and trust?
Well, I mean, I am in a musical community, and, you know, musicians like to make music. I mean, I guess it's a kind of curation. But, I mean, truthfully, for example, the Lemon Twigs on that I'd Be Lost Without You song, I only asked them to sing one high part on it. I said, just pick a part. It'd be cool to have your voices on this. But as they told me, they don't read emails very closely. So they went and did all 12 parts. And so I didn't expect it would be this glorious Technicolor, you know, wash of heavenly voices. I was only asking them to do, you know, one little thing kind of for fun. And I have to tell you, I mean, when I got those tracks back from them and pushed them on for the first time, it was like a sunrise I had never expected. I mean, it was so great.
From last year's Anything Is Possible, here's that aforementioned song featuring guest harmony vocals from the Lemon Twigs and flugelhorn and trombone from Probin Gregory, called I'd Be Lost Without You.
I'd be lost without you, tangled up in blue, tempest tossed without you, cast adrift askew. If you ever leave me, don't know what I'd do. I'd be lost without you. Though the sun might still rise in an azure sky, Without you, I'd wonder at the reason why. As the colors all fade to a single hue, I'd be lost without you. Much of life's a mystery. I think you'd agree. But as long as you are with me, there's one certainty. Though the seasons may change, I'll always be true. I'd be lost without you. I'd be lost without you. I'd be lost without you.
You know, Marshall, I think I mixed him too quiet. But he's been a friend for a long time. We both started out in New York show business around the same time and had the same mentor in Alan Betrock. And he was on my first A&M record. And, you know, he's just a really good guy and super musical. You know, Probin Gregory is somebody I hadn't worked with in the past, but, you know, he's usually been on tour with the Brian Wilson band, although that is not, I guess he's out with Al Jardine maybe now.
Yeah, I just saw their show last year, and a lot of songs from Beach Boys Love You, actually.
Oh, yeah. Oh, because that record got reissued. Yeah, crazy. Robin is like a very intuitive musician on a lot of instruments, so that was something special for me, his involvement on that last record. And he's on the new one a little bit, too, because we both like that song, Shadows Breaking Over My Head.
The Left Bank, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. You did mention briefly your A&M debut, It's All Right. Unfortunately, that seems to be currently out of print. It's not on any of the streaming services or anything. But that is such a good album.
Yeah, I'd like it to be available again. I sent a master to Universal and they put it back up. But then I tapped him on the shoulder and said, well, I think Congress said you have to give it back to me. And they said, no, we don't agree. And in fact, we're going to take it down from the internet. So that's what happened there. I need to go back to them and, you know, if we can solve wars in the Middle East. Well, I don't know that we have, but, you know, I can certainly figure out some détente with Universal. It's not like they're a big corporation or anything.
I hope you come to a memorandum of understanding.
Yeah, right, exactly. A moo.
Please don't tell me that those tapes were in that big fire.
Some of my tapes did burn up. They won't tell me which, but we have an okay copy.
From Stamey's out-of-print major label debut, 1987's It's All Right. Here's a song called Of Time and All She Brings to Mind.
Confusion is the order here. You're not invited to be clear. So stop this struggle to explain. We've both been there and back again. I think I know just what you're looking for. But I can't do that anymore. It never seems
And here's a bit of a 2026 remake of the same song from the new album, Modernism.
Take me in your arms again, the way you take a bitter pill. Let darkness hide the vagabond. We'll wait here from now until I think I know just what you've got in store. But I can't fight that anymore. No, I don't fight that anymore. I could live a lifetime in your eyes, lose my senses, innocent of time and all she brings to mind. How can I believe you now, or leave you to the chorus line? I only hope you'll understand in time and all she brings to mind. In time and all she brings to mind.
There's a really excellent re-recording of Time and All She Brings to Mind on the new album.
Yes, partially because that's not available, and also it's something that I've played with live, and we just said, well, let's try that one.
Yeah.
It was an easy get. That one is more like the way I'd played it before we recorded it. It doesn't mean that I think the version on the first A&M record is not a good version, but I this is a little more referential of the Byrds or whatever I was thinking at the time.
Yeah, it's definitely got that jangle to it. Can we talk about the Great American Songbook Project? Because you've sort of made a name for yourself as a record producer. So was it kind of a challenge to write a project where it was just about words and music as opposed to the arrangement or the sonic technique?
It's very expeditious. I mean, you can get up in the morning and write a song, and in order to come to some closure with it, if you go about it one way, you've got to maybe get musicians together, go in the studio, record, overdub, sing it, mix it. Whereas if you just take a piece of paper and write it out, you can also feel like, yeah, I'm done. And I found I could write a lot more if I wrote it on paper. When I got a good piano in my home again, I started being drawn to it more. And, if you have 10 fingers, you can really put a lot of notes down at the same time, as opposed to guitar where you really only have 4 unless you pull the thumb over the top. I guess that's being a little flip. I got more interested in an expanded harmonic vocabulary. A lot of songs the chords have 3 notes in them, but when you get a 4th or 5th note, usually walking up in thirds, you can find more places for the next chord to follow. It's like opening up pathways. And, I just got interested in that palette, really. I'm not saying it's better or worse than a great 1-chord song, but it continues to pull me in. I always like musicians who feel an obligation or a curiosity about evolving and not repeating.
Right.
And, this new record, of course, I'm kind of repeating because I'm drawing back into all kinds of old songs. But for me, there are sonic and, to me, it's still it was still a stretch for me to make this record, I guess is what I'm saying. I always try to make my records special, but this one is just an easy listen. It's really, something I put on for pleasure. And sometimes I don't do that with my own records,
I'm guessing that it wasn't necessarily a musical autobiography, but it definitely seems like a lot of the touchstones that have come up in your work before are represented here.
Well, it's hard to run away from yourself, it's kind of always there, but there wasn't any kind of big calculation here. I mean, I had this version of Waterloo Sunset I'd done with the DBs, and I had one or two other tracks, and I just thought, well, this could be a pretty fun record to complete. So initially the tracks were just to kind of frame Waterloo Sunset, but I think a lot of them turned out equally as strong. And what I mostly remember is how fun it was to go in the studio. And I mean, maybe this is why, sometimes people redo old movies and sometimes they're terrible and sometimes they're not. But there's a template that on some of these songs that wanted to work, Neon Rainbow, the parts are great. The way it hits the chorus is wonderful. So it's kind of hard to go wrong, I think. I mean, one thing I like about this record, and other people have said it, is just the sequence. It's very, I sequence usually by the key changes, but I think it just kind of worked out that you feel a flow in it. And I like that about it.
I agree. Yeah. It's very inviting. I actually saw you play live for the first time a couple summers ago at Fitzgerald's with the Big Star Quintet.
Ah, right. I remember that show.
Do you remember how hot it was?
Yeah. I mean, I think Jody was suffering because he has to put out a lot more calories than...
For sure. At least you were under a tent.
Yeah. No. That was a lovely evening. I mean, Chicago's great, and we didn't know what to expect, but yeah, I enjoyed that show a lot.
And just as with like Al Jardine doing 70s Beach Boys stuff, I never ever thought I would see like You and Your Sister or Got Kinda Lost done justice live. That was a very special evening.
Well, thank you.
How's that project evolved from, I guess it would have started with the third shows that you did?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Jody had the idea of let's just have the five of us, it's a little unwieldy to have 30 people. And some of them are strings and brass. And although I had really enjoyed that aspect of it because I learned a lot, I love those guys. And it's unusual to be in a band where there's not the unavoidable ego issues that come up when you're the singer and you've written the songs. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jody has written some of these songs, but mostly we're doing songs by Chris Bell and Alex Chilton. And so there's a kind of easiness and camaraderie about it for us that makes it, we just want to do our best to bring the music to life. And we actually only have to be like 90% there because the audience is going to be also 90% there, and it's going to add up to 180, I guess. These songs are very resonant. I have a lot of resonance for the audience. And, we see people crying. We see, teenagers and 20-somethings really moved, and then that has a feedback with us. And so it's been a really positive thing.
Here's a song Chris Bell originally released in 1978 as a solo single on Stamey's label, Car Records, performed live during a 2016 concert celebrating Big Star's third album called I Am the Cosmos.
Every night I tell myself I am the cosmos. I am the wind. But that don't get you back again. Just when I was starting to feel okay, you're on the phone.
we only play a few times a year, really, but we just did shows in Ireland that were, and for those, Pat Sansone couldn't come because he has an obligation with Wilco from time to time, but Norman Blake from Teenage Fan Club filled in, and it was great in a different way,
Yeah. I think one of the things that struck me is that like everyone who was on the stage had a right to be there. They had like a deep history and connection with the music, and it was really apparent.
Yes. Norman and Alex, the Teenage Fan Club backed Alex up, and, he loved them. And yes, with all of us, John Auer is the exception. Otherwise, it's a Southern band, and there is a certain Southern pride there too.
And yeah, Jody's drumming style is just so distinctive. It was great to hear him playing Hey Bulldog.
Isn't it great? Yeah, I know, man.
Because he has a similar thing to Ringo. Like when he's playing, you know exactly who it is within a beat.
I know. His hi-hat sound, his the way he, lays back on the backbeat and those 3 tom fills. And yeah, it's kind of weird to be on stage with him so much. Because I play bass in those shows a lot too, and so I'm really trying to mesh with him, and I just keep wanting to pinch myself. It's as distinctive a sound as you get, and one I know really well, so it's hard to believe I'm that close to it now. Also, he's a great guy. Jody's just pretty positive force.
From Modernism, here's a bit of Chris and Jody Stevens digging into the Beatles classic, Hey Bulldog.
Walking in the park, weak man, frightened of the dark. Some kind of solitude is measured out in you. You think you know me, but you haven't got a clue. You can talk to me. You can talk to me. If you're lonely, you can talk to me.
Also recently did a reunion tour with the DBs after the first couple albums were reissued. Is that something that will continue, or was that sort of like a one-off?
We had done things over the years together, but I don't really see that in the future. The future's a little too crowded for me to go down that path. I'm happy. Those guys should certainly play shows without me if they're up for that. I mixed a live record. An LP of it came out for Record Store Day, but there's the full version. It's coming out on CD. I think it's 22 tracks, and I think it's really cool. Some of the songs are arranged very differently. Some of them are remarkably similar to the recording. But although I like the LP, I'm looking forward to the full meal. I think it's coming out in September on Propeller Sound. I'm not sure.
Cool. I'll look forward to that. You were only in the DBs for the first 2 albums, and then, of course, there were reunion records and the duo records with Peter. But it seems like a lot of people still associate you mostly with that band.
I'd played with all those guys in years before the DBs as well. It's just part of our community. The DBs were just the iceberg tip that, I guess, wrecked a lot of ships. I don't know. Yeah, the whole "there are no second acts in American lives," I haven't found to be true, but in terms of what's perceived, I guess there's some argument for that.
I wanted to talk about another recent project that you've been working with, the Salt Collective, which is another one of those great acts of artistic curation where like everyone who's involved with that is someone who I quite like. Actually, a few people that we've talked to on the show, like Anton Barbeau and Jason Faulkner, were part of that project as well. How did that sort of come into being?
Well, that may be too long a story for what we're doing here, but it's a guy named Stefan Schuck who's based in Paris, and he's a composer and songwriter, but he doesn't write lyrics and melodies. He writes tracks, and so it's almost like being in the hip-hop world, except the tracks are not hip-hop. So he collaborates with a lot of different songwriters, and often those songwriters become the vocalist as well, but not always. And it's just a process that's kind of fun. I mean, the first Salt Collective record was done remotely. The DBs played the tracks without me, and I came on board. And people, because it was in the pandemic, the more recent, there's an EP and an LP that came out last year, and that was all done with a real band sitting in chairs at the Fidelatorium in North Carolina. So that new record was much more organic, but still, Amy Mann and Jason Faulkner and lots of people sang remotely, which is just the way life is these days. For what was fun for me, I think, a lot of that process was really fun for me, but connecting with Andy Partridge was, kind of a blast. I mean, and there's a song on there called You Swallowed the Sun that we collaborated on, but it's an odd one in that, to me, it sounds kind of like an XTC song, but he wrote the lyric and I wrote the music. It just came out kind of XTC-ish, even though you'd probably think that he wrote the music and I wrote the words.
Yeah, I mean, he's got such a distinctive style. Maybe it's easy to slip into it.
No, it took great skill.
From the Salt Collective's 2025 album, A Brief History of Blindness, here's a song co-written by Stamey and Andy Partridge and featuring harmonies and mellotron from Pat Sansone, called You Swallowed the Sun.
You swallowed the sun. You took it down home. Now I'm the king of the world made from coal. You swallowed the sun with stars for dessert. My future went black and depainted in dirt. And all you did was put your coat on. All you did was click the door. All you did was say you're leaving and you don't love me anymore. You don't love me anymore. You swallowed the sun, and clouds crowded in. All our gold kisses were made of tin. You swallowed the sun as night came to stay. And silent I found there's no left to play. And all you did was put your coat on. All you did was click the door. All you did was say you're leaving and you don't love me anymore. You don't love me anymore. You swallowed the sun. You took it down home. Now I'm the king of a world made from coal. And all you did was put your coat on. All you did was click the door. All you did was say you're leaving and you don't love me anymore. All you did was turn the light out on the love we had before. All you did was say you're leaving and you don't love me anymore. You don't love me anymore.
You mentioned that the future has a lot going on. Are there any projects that you're working on that you can share with us?
There's a super talented young woman named Allie Kinney. She's 22, just out of college, and just that supernova kind of, I mean, she's just so good. Great voice, great singer, and her songs are wonderful. And that's been a real experience. I'm really happy to be. I'm just finishing her record now, but everybody's very high about it. I mean, it's hard to say what'll happen, but I feel like she's going to get some attention. And I'm trying to finish a record of my own, which I'm about 2/3 through. The fall is coming up quick, and I may not make it for a fall release, but I'm trying to get moving on that.
Okay.
I mean, those are the main things, just more studio stuff, but I still find, good musicians in the studio. I mean, I think of my friend Bill Shinneman, who produced NRBQ and did a lot of things at Power Station. He was a professor at Berklee School of Music at one point, and he was saying that, well, some of the kids would rather play video games, and they were saying, why hang out in the studio? And he just said, because that's where the magic happens. And, I think that's still true.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Well, thank you for going so deep, and I mean, for being so prepared about my catalog and everything like that. That was a treat. I appreciate it.
And that's all the time we have for this week's episode. I'd like to thank Chris for taking the time to speak with Stereo Hysteria. And for more information about Chris's music and studio work, go to chrisstamey.com. Be sure to tune in again next week, when we'll be returning to a topic we visit annually, the summer. This is Charlie, signing off.